Hello and welcome to True Crime Diary, in which we look at the annals of true crime to find events that happened on this week in history. I'm your host, Mark Decano, and with me are my friends, Jed Lester.
All right.
And Rue Turner.
Hello.
We want your reviews. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review and preferably 5 stars. And if not, you can also email a review to stuff@truecrimediary.co.uk. And in appreciation of every 5-star review, we will give you a shout out in a future episode. The date we're looking at this week is the 26th of September, and on this day in 1933, FBI agents out of Birmingham, Alabama, and local police officers raided a residence in Memphis, Tennessee, and there arrested Katherine Thorne and George Barnes, better known as Machine-gun Kelly, the bootlegger and gangster.
Well, you tell you what I'm interested in.
Tell me.
I'm interested in the entire week that Rue wasted on researching the wrong Machine-gun Kelly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rue, tell us about... He's alive. He's still alive.
The star of Project Power on Netflix and rapper. Yeah, no...
Yeah, there is another famous Machine-gun Kelly. Probably these days a bit more famous, to be fair.
Yeah.
Than the real one.
Than the original.
Than the
original and best.
So who's your one?
He's famous. Colson Baker's his real name, but he's famous for his. He was dubbed Machine Gun Kelly by his fans because of the rapid delivery of his lyrics.
Ah, okay.
Yes, rapper and actor.
Yeah.
So
Project
when
Power.
did you think after a few? How long did you research it?
Well,
If you had it all up in time.
see, a few days in,
So at what point
I
did you
realised-
think...
despite
Yeah.
my initial view of this young tattooed
This-
hooligan.
Who's
Yeah.
clearly a miscreant.
Yeah, must have had some serious run-ins with the law. I'm onto something hot here.
And his
Well, yeah,
name's a
one
giveaway.
assumes.
So at what point did he think he hasn't murdered anyone yet? He's released some ditties, which. So you then thought,
Well, the most serious thing you could accuse him of is an argument with Eminem and perhaps smoking in his car. But
unbelievable. So you thought, hang on, it may be that there are two.
yeah, they might be.
So the real one did a hell of a lot worse than talked quite quickly.
Smoking in his car. Yeah. Yes, George Kelly Barnes, Machine-gun Kelly, he was a small-time bootlegger in the 20s and 30s. He did a little bit of time in Leavenworth in 1928 for smuggling liquor, but he was a model inmate, and he got out on early release, and he served a few months, and little time after that's when he met Katherine Thorne, and they got married in 1930. She was already a career criminal, so he was a bootlegger as well.
He was married before Catherine as well, though, wasn't he?
He was married before Katherine, and Katherine was married before him.
Yeah.
She'd been married 4 times. She may have murdered her third husband. We're not entirely sure.
There's a tangent.
Yeah, I don't know, the suicide note from an illiterate man is
Yeah.
a giveaway there. I think.
Yeah, so Katherine Thorne's previous husband, from whom she got the name Thorne, he apparently committed suicide, and although yes, you quite rightly, he couldn't read or write, and yet he apparently left a typed suicide note at the scene.
Dear. Apologies to the Thorne family in case we've suggested something untoward, but she did it.
But yeah, basically she did it. Yeah.
Dames are put on this earth to weaken us, drain our energy, laugh at us when they see us naked.
So she was Cleo Lyra May Brooks, was her real name, but fourth husband then was George Kelly Barnes. So she changed her name she took the name Kelly, surname Kelly. So it's Katherine Kelly, but we'll call her Thorne so that I don't say Kelly
Oh yes,
over and over.
lots of times. Yeah.
Fairly early on, he changed his name, didn't he, to George R. Kelly?
Kelly.
To hide under,
Yeah.
as a
And I
pseudonym.
wondered whether that was also another reference to another musician that we know now, of R. Kelly.
Okay.
There is this habit of modern musicians to pick gangsters' names,
Yeah.
however subtly and indirectly.
Interesting. As opposed to Eminem, who took his name from some sweets.
Yeah.
Machine-gun Kelly.
She was the Paul Simon to Machine-gun Kelly's... No, is it that way round? I would say that's...
Yeah.
He was the more... The
He did
brains.
what he was told.
Again, apologies to the Garfunkel family. But it was Paul Simon. But see, he gets the... what should we say? Glory?
Yeah, arguably, yeah.
But she created the Beast, do you think?
Yeah, exactly. As we said, when he was in prison, he was a model inmate. You know, he did his time. He was a small-time crook. He did his time. But after he married Katherine, they went big time. Bootlegging escalated. They went into bank robbery. They planned a lot of kidnappings. She basically escalated everything.
Blimey.
When they got together,
it was Moida.
It was Moida.
This is Mrs. H.
She is the one who got him the machine gun. It was a Thompson submachine gun, Tommy gun. She's the one who got him the machine gun. She's the one who gave him the name Machine-gun Kelly.
It's quite a good name.
She
When
picked
was...
up in a pawnbroker's for $250.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of money though. $250.
What? The
gun.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant the name.
She bought the name.
Bought the deeds.
She bought his domain.
When
rights.
when were machine guns invented? And if they weren't invented, what would his name be?
Rifle Kelly.
Rifle Kelly. The gun was the it was a good gun, wasn't it?
It was a good gun.
Yeah, the old Thompson was a superb gun.
Which I obviously have only just realised
The classic,
a few minutes ago
Tommy
is
gun.
the reason why it was called the Tommy gun.
Yeah, the Tommy gun, the Thompson submachine gun. So that was come out basically
1921.
doing that was the trademark gun of the
I think it
30s
still is,
gangster.
really. And what name a historic Kalashnikov is that? I'm just talking about. I mean,
Yeah,
that is
modern
the
criminals,
absolute. When you
that's
think
it,
of a gun, you could ask kids or adults or I don't know, old people. They would list that, wouldn't they? That style of, or they'd point at that gun and go, "That one." People know that style, the old violin case.
Yeah.
Machine gun, basically.
Because until that point, machine guns were massive. I mean, they were just huge, great things that took
Yeah.
4 men to carry. And whereas this was a gun you could hold on your own.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And when
It didn't need a belt of bullets to feed it.
Yeah.
No, it had the
it had that
cartridge
disc of
magazine.
It didn't
yeah.
need cooling.
Well, this is it. I mean, technically, it should have been called Submachine Gun Kelly because it was
Yeah,
a submachine
well,
gun, not a machine gun.
submachine gun cannon. That's still quite good.
Yeah, but he sounds like a deputy.
Automatic.
It's a deputy leader.
I'm submachine
I'm
gun
submachine
Kelly. Oh,
gun.
can I speak to your boss?
Yeah.
Machine gun.
Machine Gun Kelly, he became the FBI's public enemy #1.
Ooh. So probably enjoyed that. The marketing arm
Exactly. Yeah.
of the Machine Gun Kelly conglomerate.
So from
Probably
small time,
thought, nice.
yeah. So from small time bootlegger to public enemy #1, the marketing machine went into overtime.
Catherine was doing a good job of going around all the bars and handing out his business card.
Yeah. Well, she handed out shell casings.
Exactly.
Yeah. She gave shell casings away as souvenirs from the machine gun.
As a kind of fear inducing act.
Yeah. Whenever there's a crime and everyone wants to grab a piece of the site or whatever, like roll up, come and get your souvenir.
You'd think that would raise suspicion.
I
of
didn't
the
know whether that-
authorities, wouldn't you? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that have gone down well, or why are you giving me a, bullet casing? Was everyone like, or were they, hey, machine gun,
Well,
machiney?
it's part of the mythology, though, isn't it? It's the gangsters, and
Yeah.
everyone wants a little piece of it.
Could I borrow a couple bullets? We're a little short.
I mean, it's not like he was a Robin Hood character, like some of them purported
Right.
to be.
It's like the gangster movie thing of, well, a vague example of the gangster movie, Robert De Niro putting $20 in everyone's top pocket.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not the same. But it's the same kind of,
I had a Welsh uncle who used to do that.
what, to everyone or just to you?
Pretty much. He thought it was kind of cool and kind of suave-like.
Yeah.
What
And
was
he'd go
your?
into a restaurant and tuck money into the top pocket of the maitre d' in a restaurant. It'd be
Yeah.
like a crappy little burger bar, in
Oh, so not to you.
No.
Oh right, I thought you meant.
and it just kind of to big himself up,
To flash on the cash, yeah.
Just popping money into people's pockets.
Well, I don't know.
Making themselves out like some sort of big shot.
They probably then
I'll have
treated him
extra
well.
chips, say well.
Yeah, it works well with the Welsh accent. He's public enemy number one now. He's the most famous gangster in America.
Wow.
Was there a 10 Most Wanted?
Yeah.
I wonder where that's probably recent, isn't it? I was just wondering if there was an order, an actual order of. No, he's 7. Just
Don't want
go.
him. I don't know actually. I'm
Yeah,
curious.
it's
10 Most Wanted is just a made up. It's not actual. In at number 8.
No, that's the Casey Kasem is on the
He's on the case of
is on the case. Yeah.
America's top 10.
The 10 most wanted list only began in 1950, but I mean it's a real thing.
Right. Okay.
But in 1933, when we're talking about, there was public enemy number one. Basically, there was no. I mean, there would have been lists, but they would have been on a desk.
Yeah.
Nothing published, but yeah, he was straight in at number one with the bullet.
That's basically what they wanted. I'm talking about Katherine Thorne's marketing
successful campaign
plan. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're top of the most wanted list, you're the biggest criminal. Therefore, everyone's going to do exactly what you say. No one's going to mess with you. Or in their mind.
Must have done something to get there. Keep out of his way.
Yeah,
Exactly. But then also, he would have been number one on the list because of the fame. The fame begats infamy and
exactly.
and so on. You know,
Which they would have
absurd.
loved.
Yeah.
Even though he never killed anybody.
Yeah, never killed anybody. Didn't even like firing the gun, apparently.
Don't like guns.
What did he
Never shot
like?
anybody.
Do we know what he liked?
I'm going to say ice cream.
I'm just thinking of a name that he would have
Ice Cream Kelly.
Because she would have come up with that, wouldn't she?
What, Machine-gun Kelly?
Yeah.
That was all
Yeah.
all Catherine.
So therefore, what would he? Do we have to? I don't even like. Do we have to be? Yes, you do. It's the most deadly. No, what is it? It's the
the name.
a big gun.
yeah.
I've written it on
It's
the
a-
bullets
it's a
now.
it's a popular gun. You called it. But I like. When was it? The 30s.
1933.
I like the Talkies. I like the Talkies. Talkies
Talkie Kelly.
Kelly.
Oh, I should have never picked that name.
That's what I find really funny is that the gun that is still now in private collection, which is his
The
famous
gun. What, one gun?
is a shotgun.
It's a shotgun. Yeah,
Hang
yeah,
on.
It's a
Shotgun Kelly's pretty good.
I mean, shotguns are famous for not firing many shots.
That's a big gun, George.
That's right.
So he's quite old.
Yeah.
No, not him.
But it was
the gun.
It's chrome plated. It does look rather nice and shiny.
Yeah, well, that's probably the nice gun and not his everyday. His everyday.
everyday
That was his
shotgun.
Sunday best.
I wonder who came up with the old violin case as a carrying form for that gun.
A very violent musician, I would think. but-
Someone who was
Yeah.
in an orchestra. I said, I know. I'll tell you what, what'll fit in here.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
What's the history of smuggling weapons in
Well, that's what
unusual
I'm saying.
objects?
Yeah. Who came
I mean,
up with a violin case? Apart
I mean,
from the fact
we've
that
already
it's
covered
perfect.
syringes in umbrellas,
Yeah.
or guns in umbrellas.
Arguably. Arguably.
Saxophone, I reckon it'd fit in a saxophone case. It's the same kind of shape.
But you need that kind of the swelling at the bottom of the violin case for that disc magazine.
Yeah.
you're
For the
right.
butt of the.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
the
the button
gun's
and the
butt.
disc.
You could put a blunderbuss in a bassoon.
Almost certainly.
case.
In fact, you probably wouldn't.
What's a
You probably could
bassoon
play
case?
a blunderbuss
yeah.
as if it was a bassoon.
Is a bassoon just a long rectangle case? The case I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You could put a blunderbuss in there.
Yeah.
That's what
you
I
could
would
put a blunderbuss if you're living in the 17th century.
A rocket launcher. How big are they?
A trombone case.
Trombone.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive. A massive gun with an extension. Trombone style.
Trying to think of something to go in a tuba.
A tuba. A cannon. A
cannon in a tuba case?
It's not really transportable.
No,
really.
that's a ridiculous idea.
Yeah, I know.
Or a blow dart in a piccolo case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They are.
yeah,
They do
exactly,
have
perfect.
cases. They have a little case. Like a mini snooker cue case. Why have they got cases?
Well, what you're doing is you're describing a case by using the analogy of another case.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. That's the classic. That's the classic joke, isn't it? The gangster at the St. Valentine's Day massacre. The famous last words: "Open up the case. Go, put the violin in here." To my recollection, the only famous Public Enemy number 1 was the man who preceded him number 1 on that list, which was John Dillinger.
Okay.
You probably heard of.
Yep.
He was taken down a few months before this, and then Kelly made it to Public Enemy number 1, and then we're now talking about his arrest in September 1933. And the reason why he got taken down was his last big crime, which was a kidnapping. He kidnapped Charles F. Urschel in July, and he was a big oil tycoon of Oklahoma City. And on that day in July, the Kelly gang...
All 2 of them.
Well, there was, and a couple of friends.
Oh, okay. Bass and drums.
Yeah. They went to Urschel's house, and where he and his wife and a colleague, Walter R. Jarrett, were having a gathering, and they took both the men and left the wives behind. Not long after they released Jarrett, they didn't need him, and they kept Urschel in the town of Paradise in Texas at Katherine Thorne's mum and stepfather's house. Kept him there.
And what was the point?
Well, they ransomed him off.
He was quite a rich chap.
He was a big oil tycoon, big oil
That's
money.
what big money was back then, I suppose. Is
Well,
kidnapping.
the early 30s was definitely massive Great Depression era.
Yeah.
So does that mean everyone had nothing?
Everyone had
wealthy
no money.
oil barons had all the
All
money.
the money.
Is that the case? Or
Effectively, yeah.
so basically, that's why they chose a oily.
Yeah, it's oil money.
Man.
It's big oil money, and then everyone else poor from the
It
depression.
was a topical hijacking.
Exactly. I mean, he's bootlegging, he's running liquor. It's small time stuff. So they've been building up to bank robbery, now they're up to kidnapping. So they're kidnapping.
For this extraordinarily wealthy oil tycoon, how much are they asking?
They ransom him for $200,000 American.
Very good.
Now, in fairness,
That's no small potatoes these days, really.
no, but in fairness, this is 1930
Yeah,
dollars.
sure,
That's
yeah.
about $4 million by
Okay.
today's
All
standard.
right, fine.
So yeah, they're looking for some money. It sounds, you
So
say
he
200
wasn't
grand.
like
It sounds,
going, really?
I've got that in the car.
I'll write you a check. Okay.
$200,000, but that's $4 million in today's money. Now, they were very good, apparently, at all the planning. They were very, very careful about, how he was being kept. They were very, very careful about the ransom delivery. The ransom got paid. They released him alive and well.
Right.
So it all went swimming.
Wow. It never happens, does it?
Well, no, not really.
I don't know. I wonder if that's reputation speaking. Oh, for God's sake, pay them.
Yeah, well,
They're
they didn't
ruthless.
kill anyone, as far as I'm
Okay.
aware. They never killed anybody, so
Right.
it's all the publicity, and it's all Thorne's doing. She is the
Right,
publicity.
yeah,
She-
yeah.
Like I say, when she'd been a career criminal when they met, and he'd done a few months in prison where he was.
I'm going to think
calm
of a
and
better
quiet.
analogy for their relationship. Carry on.
Yeah. I mean, arguably, this is quite a feminist episode because she's the strong one in the relationship. She's the one who's doing all the planning and organising. He's just the name. She's the woman behind the loser. And in fact, when they were on the run later on, which we'll get to, she tried to do a deal to turn him in
Do him over.
to get herself out. Yeah.
Again, very, very kind of intellectually done, where you are the brains, but the other person is the well-known
Oh,
person,
yeah.
so everyone will blame.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is a federal case. This is a kidnapping is a federal case. So the
Yeah.
FBI wants the guy
Wants
on the
him.
poster.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
want
yeah.
the name. So if you're the silent partner,
Hmm.
then you're small potatoes as far as they're concerned. Even
Yeah.
though she was the brains and the organizer and everything.
You get the feeling that he was kind of a good follower, and just did as he was told, as instructed.
Yeah.
learned how to use a machine gun pretty well, even though he didn't really like using it.
Yeah, exactly. So if the kidnapping went so well, how come the FBI managed to catch up with them then, I wonder? Well, I can tell you there's two reasons why. One is the FBI got a tip-off, origin unknown, that the Kellys were involved.
Huh?
But the main one is that Urschel
An extraordinary memory.
had an extraordinary memory, and he was very, very smart. He left his fingerprints everywhere he went.
Ah, right, deliberately.
He deliberately
daubing.
just touched
Yeah,
everything he could. He recalled everything. He listened. He was counting how many steps he had to take to wherever he went. He was listening for any sounds he could hear, and they traced it all back to Paradise in Texas, and obviously a trail with his fingerprints and everything.
There's one clever bit that I thought he was quite good. Was he was in Paradise, and he hears a plane fly overhead. So he says, "Excuse me, what's the time?"
Yeah, brilliant.
So it's like,
Oh, right, yeah, sure, yeah.
9:15.
Well, that'll be the
that'll
Denver
be, yeah,
flight.
yeah. Right.
So they knew that there was these two planes that flew regularly overhead, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And that,
Exactly. I mean, it was very
Excellent.
It sort of makes it clear why people are almost never released after a kidnapping because of this fella. Yeah, so he was very, very smart, and he told the FBI everything, and they worked it all out, the timing and the locations, and all the way back. And they caught up with them, and they found the ranch in Paradise.
it just made me thought, if you're going to kidnap somebody, then you need a good set of sound effects that you can play in the next room.
Yeah. I'm wondering now. I was wondering if there's been a movie where someone's been kidnapped and kept in somewhere where it's been pretended that it was somewhere else.
Well, wasn't the only one I can think of off the top of my head completely, without referring to anything. Hang on, I'm just scrolling. Is Ipcris file, where Michael Caine, thought he was kidnapped. I can't remember any of the plot at all, but he thought he was being taken to Paris. He was convinced he was in Paris being brainwashed, and he escapes. Possibly that might have been the plot. Anyway, he was still in London. But my point is, I don't know, sound effects or something. Instead of accordion music, they played Cockney dittos.
They had the sound, the sound of German Oktoberfest playing in the next room.
Anyway, he was next door to his house or something. Anyway, carry on.
Okay, so the FBI arrests Kelly. Now, there's a lot of conflicting reports about the arrest itself. Some people say he was armed when they burst in. Other reports say that he was unarmed. He was begging not to be shot, etc. But the FBI report says that he was caught with his hands up and he didn't say a word. So that probably sits in a bit more nicely with this idea that he would meekly serve his time.
I think he's quite a compliant
Initially,
character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, yes, his initial incarceration.
Yeah, it's not one of them come and get me copper kind of Jimmy Cagney type gangsters. So the trial, this was quite fascinating.
Did Christmas Humphreys preside?
If only.
Because he mainly does.
So certainly not, no.
No.
This is in the United States and so
he
on.
might be freelance.
Freelance crown prosecutor.
Of different law.
Because this was, I think, wasn't it the first recorded, video
Filmed.
Thank you, that's the word.
That's the word. Yes, it was. It was filmed. It was the first. It was a lot of firsts, actually. It was the first in a federal criminal trial. It was the first filmed trial.
First time Kelly had gone to court.
No, it wasn't.
No, of course it wasn't. I mean, trial.
No, he was tried. He
And
spent 3 months in
convicted
Leavenworth. So you suggesting you went without trial?
You're confusing. You're thinking about the wrong Machine-gun Kelly, who's merely
I
learning
spent
lines.
a week listening to rap music. Don't expect much from me.
Now your
All
mind
he
is
did was
addled.
learn lines from his Netflix special. And you've got it in for him.
So famous first. So yeah, first use of film cameras in a federal criminal trial. It was the first.
She would have liked that.
It was the first time that it was a prisoner transfer by airplane.
Right.
It was the first
Okay.
big solve by the FBI
Whatever.
under Hoover. Yeah,
Okay. Yep.
and it was the first time that there was a federal kidnapping trial, because kidnapping hadn't been a federal offence before the Lindbergh case.
What? There was always one answer to the if you're guilty, what you got in some of our previous podcasts, i.e., they basically all got hung, but hanged. All right. What? Before we go any further, I literally don't know the ending to this episode at all. But the what is the if you are guilty, what do you get in America?
In the
Out
Americas.
at the time.
It was prison.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was prison. Yeah.
Ours was get rid of him.
Yeah, but
Hanged.
Bring him up.
Yep.
yeah, but we're talking about, in the cases we've talked about where people were hanged, that was murder or treason. This is no one died, and it wasn't treasonous.
there wasn't
This was
a
a
murder,
kidnapping.
was there? Yeah, sorry,
It was a
I'm-
federal prosecution, but it wasn't. It wasn't a capital offence. So I can tell you.
So
what,
it was only ever going to be prison.
it was going to be prison. Yeah,
It's
I
a bit
can tell you.
disappointing.
yeah. It could have
Oh,
I sentence you to be burnt at the stake.
wired him up.
Squad.
Firing squad.
Well, machine
it's
guns.
not-
In the true spirit of this, we're going to gun you down
I sentence
with
you
the
to
latest
be gunned to death.
with the latest machine guns that have just come out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was an option.
I told you should have called yourself
Blancmange Kelly.
Pat on the back Kelly. Blancmange Kelly.
Yeah, because it wouldn't hurt.
Till you drown.
Warm handshake Kelly.
I just wanted to say the word blancmange.
Not said enough.
Blancmange.
Write in if you don't know what blancmange is.
Oh, but not to me. So convictions. Then I can tell you what everyone got.
All two of them.
No, not
Oh,
all.
sorry, yeah, I
all
forgot about
four of them.
Drum and bass.
So, Machine-gun Kelly, he got life in prison.
Is that one of those natural life sentences, or?
Well, he died in prison.
Oh, right.
I don't know at the time whether life meant life.
I bet it did.
In the UK, life means usually about 15 years at the moment. However, you can be subject to a whole of life order, which means that you will not get out.
That doesn't seem fair. I mean, Brexit means Brexit.
No one knows what that
hang
means
on.
anyway.
It's taking a turn, this podcast. But, sorry, before you go on, was he being tried solely on that kidnapping, not on anything else?
It was on the kidnapping, yeah. This is
Okay.
all of this is on the kidnapping.
Yep.
So he got life imprisonment. Catherine and her mother both got life imprisonment as
The
well.
mother? When was that? Have I
Because
missed that?
it was their ranch that they
Oh,
held-
that it
held
was...
All right.
hostage.
Oh, yeah. So
Paradise was the.
Paradise was their ranch.
what do you call it? An accessory? Possibly?
Well, a co-conspirator. They're all tarred with the
Sorry.
same brush.
Yes, of course.
So there's Catherine and her mother, and then her stepfather, who was also there. So Catherine and the mother got life. They served 25 years before they got out. And the stepfather, he was sentenced to 25 and served 11. Kelly himself, he died in prison in Leavenworth of heart failure in 1954.
How long had he been in by that stage?
21 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
About 21 years.
And-
Get in.
And tell me, he was a model.
He was a model
It was a
prisoner.
model.
Yeah, a model.
Well,
Catwalks all over the prison.
although he did manage to garner a new reputation, he spent the first 17 years of his sentence as one of the earliest residents of the newly appointed Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary.
Excellent.
So he was prisoner 117 of
Really?
the first 137 who went in
Well.
when it opened.
So I just remembered he used to constantly brag that he was going to escape.
Yes,
So that's why they bundled him up over to Alcatraz.
yes, they put him in Alcatraz, and then after 17 years, then they moved him to Leavenworth. Now Alcatraz, he got a new nickname. instead of being called Machine-gun Kelly, the other inmates called him Pop-gun Kelly.
Okay.
Because he got a reputation of telling quite tall tales.
Okay.
He was a big fish salesman. You know, one of those people who was like,
Right.
it was telling the stories of which exploits
It was
that
that
were.
big. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was- but yeah, basically he was a bit of a liar.
It's all true. It really is.
He was bigging up his exploits and trying to tell everyone about all the stuff he did, but very few people believed him. So they said, they
He
called him
didn't have
Pop-gun.
Catherine there to sell the myth anymore.
Well, exactly, yeah. He wasn't quite the publicist his wife was. So, there's been films and books about it.
Mm-hmm.
Personal favourite of mine is the film Machine-gun Kelly, which is a Roger Corman movie made in 1958
Mm-hmm.
I've not seen that.
and starred a very young Charles Deathwish Bronson
Yeah, really.
as Machine-gun Kelly.
That wasn't his name at the time.
No, it was Charles before Deathwish Bronson.
Yep.
Yeah, very good movie, worth checking
As
out.
Machine Gun.
As Machine-gun Kelly in the lead role.
Who played Catherine?
Susan Cabot.
Susan Cabot.
Susan Cabot.
Machine Gun Kelly. You liked being called that, didn't you? Well, I made you. And I'll make your name stick, whether you like it or not.
That's all for this time. If you want to know more about what we've discussed over the course of this episode, just Google it or something. You can see daily true crime updates on our Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. You can email us or you can support the show with a PayPal donation. And links to all of those are on our website at truecrimediary.co.uk. Don't forget to send us a review or post one in your podcast service if you can, and all 5-star reviews will get a shout out on a future episode. Join us next time when we'll be similarly discussing and digressing on another event in true crime history. Until then, my thanks to Jed and Rue. My name's Mark, and we'll see you on the next date in our True Crime Diary.